This is the Hollyland Lark M2 lapel microphone. To me, it's like one of the best, most awesomest little microphones in the world. So imagine my surprise recently when I went to the NAMM show in California and I discovered the new Hollyland Lark M2S. M2S. Oh, so what I'm going to do today is tell you the differences between the Hollyland M2 and the Hollyland Lark M2S. Yes, indeed. So, I don't know what the S stands for, maybe super, maybe small, who knows? But whatever it is, it's awesome. And I'm going to tell you the difference between the two. If you don't have any of these, I'm going to tell you which one you need to buy. If you do already have the M2, I'll tell you whether it's worth buying the M2S or not. So, stick around and stay tuned. Firstly, I'm going to tell you a little bit about this microphone. This super awesome microphone, in case you're not familiar with it. This is obviously a lapel microphone. Look, I've got one right here. So I'm using this to record right now on my smartphone over there. And this is the other one. They come two of them in the box. Like this, you just put them in and they recharge, and this is a receiver, and it comes with a whole pack of stuff. So let's just talk about this for a little bit, what it comes with, in case you're not familiar with this Hollyland Lark M2. A bag of extras, yes. We have the, whatever this is, the booklet, stickers. So you notice that this one doesn't have the logo on it, and this one does. See the logo? This one has a logo. This one doesn't have a logo because I've covered it up with a black sticker. So that's a useful little thing if you want. This is a charging box. It charges. It has the receiver here. This is one receiver. The other receiver is plugged into the phone, so you can't see it now, but it looks like this. It looks like this. It actually comes with two of these. One of them is a lightning connector for the old iPhones, and the other one is a USB-C connector, which is plugged into my phone right now. They're both identical otherwise. So we have these connectors, receivers. We have this receiver that plugs into a camera. It has a little thingy there, has a volume button over here. It has an audio out, which connects to the camera like this. So if you have a professional video camera, for example, that fits in there and you're filming it from there. It has a USB charger or output. Not quite sure. I think it's an output and a charger. You can use it as both. A couple of buttons, etc., etc. You can look for more details about how each one actually works, how it actually works on the internet. I'm sure there's plenty and plenty of videos that talk about how this actually works. Now, I use this mainly. I bought this last year. And I did buy it with my own money last year, and I've been using this mainly for public speaking. Public speaking, especially in weddings. Now, I work as a DJ in weddings. I've done probably about 20 weddings so far. 20 weddings, 25 weddings so far. Wedding ceremonies using this. Each time I stick this on the celebrant or the officiant, whoever's doing the wedding ceremony. It's been different people every time, different venues every time, and I haven't had a single problem. It's connected perfectly. Literally, as soon as you pull this out of the box, see it's green, it means it's charging. As soon as you pull this out of the box and you pull this out of the box, it connects one to another automatically, and you literally just stick it on the person. Now this comes with a whole load of little extras. For example, these little clips like this. There's a magnet here, so you clip this on you like this, and then this clips on like that. Awesome. I'm not sure whether you might hear the sound going a bit weird because I'm speaking through this microphone, but when I pull this out, it also connects to the other microphone. So if you hear anything weird, it's because of that. So it has a system of magnets. There's a tiny little magnet. It can stick on the magnet clip like this. It can stick on metal objects with magnets. It even comes with these kind of little, what's this called? Like a necklace. You can stick it on here and use it around your neck as a necklace. I've offered this to, for example, especially if there's a female officiant doing the wedding ceremony, she may have a blouse on or a dress. I've offered these, but usually they say no, they prefer the clip. So I haven't actually used this. And it works great. I do have some DJ friends who say they have had some interference problems, but I haven't had any problems at all with any interference or anything. I'm usually at the back, either inside in a chapel or outside in the countryside, in a field, in the middle of nowhere. I'm usually not close to where the person's speaking. There may be 50 or 100 or 150 or 200 people sitting in the audience, and I usually put my speaker at the back and my equipment at the back, and it's the guy at the front is speaking and transmitting to the back, right? That's how it works. Comes with a few little extras like this little hairy critter that goes on there. It's a bit awkward to put it on. If you're in the wind, just be careful. You might suddenly think you got some kind of insect or animal on you and get scared. It has this, as I showed you, to plug into the camera, this to plug into your phone. So it's got a lot of different connectivity options. And as I said, I've mainly been using it as a lapel microphone for wedding ceremonies, and it's been great. There's only once that I've had a problem with some strange kind of feedback and everything. I didn't know what was going on. And what was actually going on is that what happens is as soon as you pull this out, it turns on automatically and it connects automatically to the receiver. And what happened one day was I had this on the guy at the front doing the ceremony, but the other one, for some reason, you see the little connectors in there. For some reason, these connectors weren't fully connected, and it moved and it disconnected from the connectors, and so it actually connected, because both of these microphones connect to the same receiver. So this mic was actually on inside the box over there, and it was making these obviously feedback noises and all of this. Thankfully I figured out what was going on and was able to pull it out and switch it off, because it does have a little button on there. You hold it on for a few seconds and it switches off. Anyway, as I said, if you want to know more about this, there's plenty of information on the internet about this microphone. The main point of this video now is telling you the difference between the Lark M2 and the Lark M2S. Now take a look at this, how awesome it is. Awesome, man. This is the microphone, and this is the only part you see, because this clips on like this. So it's even more invisible. Even though I've got a black sticker over this one's even more invisible. You don't need any black stickers. Let's have a look what does come with it. We have a charger. There is a charger with this as well. I don't have it right there. I think a charger comes with it as well. We have the little critters, but they're smaller. These little critters are smaller. This is the same. We have, oh, this is important. Look at the difference in the boxes. Now, I never knew why this came with this really kind of disgusting color. The new one, oh, it's a lovely color. And the new one, this piece goes in here as well. Now the old one doesn't. These don't need to be recharged. These are powered by your phone. Now if you look at the difference between these two, apart from that's obviously different, it's just very, very slightly smaller. Very slightly smaller. Now they told me in Hollyland that the internal functioning is exactly the same, that they didn't change anything of the internal functioning. So it has the same distance, the same sound supposedly. We'll test that out in a minute. Everything functions the same way. The only thing that changes is the design of it, the shape of it. So obviously these two have a very little bit different design. This has a bigger button on the bottom. That's a tiny little button. So there's just very minimal kind of differences. Now one big difference is that two of these came with the HOLLYLAND M2. I got two of these. One with the lightning connector and one with the USB-C, which you can't see right now because it's plugged into my smartphone. In the new version, only the USB-C comes with it. There's no lightning connector one. So that may be a negative point. If you are working with an iPhone and you want to film things with an iPhone, then it may be a little bit negative. They do have a little workaround, and that's they send this. So this is like an adapter that plugs into your phone here, your USB. This is a USB-C to lightning adapter. So they do send you one of these to kind of get around it, right? But nevertheless, maybe one reason to stick with this one is if you are using an older iPhone and you still use a lightning connector. That's reason number one to stick with this. So what's better about this one? Obviously, the fact that this can go in here is a great thing, because you got the whole set in this box. And the box is very, very little difference in size. If you look at it that way, it's the same. The only thing is it's just very, very slightly taller. And it doesn't really need to be. I don't know why it's very slightly taller. But anyway, that's not important. If you look at this, the design is a little bit different as well. This is a camera attachment. This has a big wheel. That is a small wheel. It still has the same two lights on, as you can see there. This has a clip on the back. This one just has a thing that slides into, I guess, on the top of the camera. So other than that, it's basically the same functions, same buttons, does the same thing. There's a button that makes it it turns into it stops background noise, for example. So anyway, it's more or less the same. The only things I see different, apart from the design, is the color of the box. Wow, it's much better. Now, one important difference is the fact that this comes with all these little extra pieces. This comes with these two clips like this, magnetic clips. This doesn't need it because it just clips like this onto your clothes. Doesn't need it. Now, when I first saw this is kind of a springy little thing, right? I thought, the first thing I actually asked the guy at Hollyland is, this doesn't seem to be very strong. Maybe you'll put it on something thin like a shirt and it might slide down. But I have used this already and it didn't slide down. And let me show you something. Thinnest thing I can find is a little piece of tissue. We're going to open up the piece of tissue. I'm going to stick this on there. And watch this. I'm going to shake it. Imagine this is a really, really extra paper thin blouse or shirt. Somebody's publicly speaking with this lapel microphone on them, and I can shake it around, and it doesn't move. You see? It holds on. Will it get more weak over time? I don't know. Only time will tell. But at the moment it seems good. So you don't have the extra piece here. You don't have to have an extra piece here. This is actually an extra little magnet. If I stick this there, it'll... Oh, it does stick. That's funny. Wonder why they even have this piece of magnet. So I have this piece of magnet and then that piece of magnet on there. By the way, nearly every single person who has been publicly speaking with these mics, who I've mic'd them up, without fail, they comment on how good it sounds and how awesome is the system. Literally, I just walk up to them and I go click, and I click it on them, and they think it's awesome. But look at this. Sometimes when I've taken it off the person, pulled it here, this stays on here. Sometimes it goes off, goes on there. You know, there's a lot of little pieces. This is 3 pieces, and this is 1 piece. You can lose those pieces. A lot of times I've put this back in here like this, and then afterwards I've noticed, oh, the magnet behind it is not here, because you've got to put the magnet on there, and then it goes in there like that. And then I've looked all at my tons of equipment, DJ equipment all over the place, and I'm like, where is it? Where's that tiny little magnet? Is it still stuck to to the vicar, the priest, the wedding officiant. And these don't come with this. These are magnetic as well. Now you may think, oh, well, what if somebody does want to use... Nobody has asked me to use this so far. But what if they did? What if somebody wants to use it on the necklace? What if there's a woman with a big open dress, for example? She got nowhere to clip this. Well, there's nothing technically stopping you from just getting your own one of these and just hooking it on. Haha. So technically you can do that with any necklace you have, right? So I don't see that as a problem. So before we go any further, I think what we should do is listen if there is any difference. There shouldn't be any difference, but we're going to change this microphone that I'm using right now with this one and see if we can hear any difference. Right, are you ready? So I've got the other one plugged in now and working. You shouldn't hear, there shouldn't be much of a difference in sound. If there is, it would be very interesting to hear, and you're actually hearing this before I am, so you'll know before I do if there's a difference in the sound. Now, little differences and maybe a little difference in volume. This, after all, has if you look at this one, the microphone is facing forwards, and on this version the microphone is facing upwards. However, it would be upwards facing your chin rather than your mouth, so there shouldn't really be much of a difference in sound. If there is, well, that'll be interesting, won't it? Volume is easy, you just change the volume on whatever you're using it, whatever it's connected to. If it's a little bit of different equalization, that would be interesting to know. Equalization can be fixed as well post recording, but it's always good to have a microphone that works. It's perfectly equalized right off the bat. That's great. Now just look at this. This is what I just had connected to me. All of this. Compare that with that. This is a lot heavier. It's made of 3 pieces, as you've seen earlier. This is just 1 piece. Isn't that awesome? And I'll tell you something else about this creature that comes with it. If you try and put this on here, it's like really problematic. It doesn't fit properly for this, for one. For another, it looks like a giant big bug is on you. These come with a smaller one, and it's much easier to slide a small one of these just onto there like that. Much easier. So I've never used this. What I've told, when it's been a bit windy outdoors, I've told the speaker, I've said, just turn your back a little bit towards the wind, you know, according to how you turn, you'll stop that noise because the wind won't be blowing across it, and it usually works. But with this, I can conceivably actually put that little furry thing on. So that's definitely a design improvement. A definite design improvement is how much simple this is. Doesn't have so many pieces, not so many things you don't need. The bags are the same, they both come with a bag of stuff, but there's less stuff with the new one than with the old one. That's great. So all in all, I think it's a great improvement. There's 2 key words that I can think of to describe the new one compared to the old one, and that is elegance. Elegance is one of the things, and the other one is simplified. It's a simplified design. This was super easy to use. This is even easier. Both of them, you just literally take them out of the box, they connect straight away, plug it in, and that's it. So I would say elegance. By the way, if it does sound a bit funny, both of these microphones are on right now, and they're both being picked up by the receiver over there. So it may sound a bit louder now, it may sound a bit quieter now. La. So you may hear some weirdness on the recording because of that. When I plug this in, it should switch off again, and it has. It's now charging. And the light, for example, there's normally 2 lights on here. One of them, I can see by looking at the lights on the other one that's plugged into the phone, which one, that only one is connected now. It's this one. So, I've been rambling on and rambling on and rambling on. I'll just tell you, simplified design, elegant design, nice color, everything. Is there anything that's better about this than this? Well, the new one just has 1 little light on. The old one has 4 lights on. So that shows you how much battery it's got in its stored battery in here. This one doesn't, it just says whether there is battery or not. But both of them, when you plug them in, this changes color when it's fully charged, and this obviously has the 4 lights on when it's fully charged. Apart from that, I don't see any benefit in the old one in a new one. There's only 2 cases where I can think of where you might want to stick with the old one and not the new one. And that is, as I said, the issue of the old iPhone. This has a lightning connector. And the other reason would be if you specifically wanted something with a magnet. For example, you may want to stick it on the front of a music stand. However, this one can also just hook on the top of a music stand. You may want to stick it on a car, on some piece of equipment with metal on it, on the fridge, and spy on what people are talking to you out of the office over there on the fridge when they're talking about you behind your back. You just stick it on the fridge with a magnet. But if you don't have a specific use for it with a need to use magnets, then there's no reason to have the old one. If you don't have either of them, you need to get the new one. The new one is worth it. It's probably a little bit more expensive than the old one now. The old one I think has probably gone down in price. But it's definitely an improvement, more elegant and more simplified. Now, is there anything that could be improved about it? After using it for a little bit already, there is just a couple of little things I can think of to improve this. One is, as I've mentioned before, the size of the box. It's slightly taller, but it doesn't really need to be. There's no reason why there's like an extra space at the bottom. The battery is supposedly the same. So it could be just a slightly little bit. That's just one little pet peeve I have. Another thing is, as I said, who knows if maybe over time this may get weak and it might not hold tight enough. One thing that would have helped is if they would have put tiny magnet in here and a tiny magnet in there, just to give it that extra little bit of pinch for when you're wearing a thin blouse or shirt. That might have given me a little bit more confidence in its sticking ability, because these magnets are pretty strong. I would have liked to have seen magnets in there, even if it had felt on the top or rubber over the top. You know, like the little chess pieces with the magnet underneath and then the felt underneath. Would have been great. So that's one little thing. These are just minor things, really. But there is one thing that could have been improved on both of them, because what this doesn't do, for example, this comes with 2 receivers, right? And 2 transmitters. Both transmitters connect to one receiver. They either connect to this or to this, whichever one is on. You see, this is connected now to there. Now, if I plug this into a phone, it won't connect because it's already connected here. It would be great if they can connect to both of them at the same time. I don't know why it doesn't, but if we could, that would be a very big improvement. You know why? For example, and this is something I use this for. I don't use this on a camera. What I do is I get this, plug it into here, and then I use an adapter and I plug it into a mixer, and that way you can be publicly speaking and I'm controlling your volume here, I'm controlling you here, and it's going out to speakers and everything else. I use it as a normal lapel microphone for public speech. But if it could connect to both of the things at the same time, I could also have this plugged into my phone, into my smartphone, and I could record the audio on my smartphone. I could use my smartphone as an audio recorder. Imagine that. Or the other way around, plug it into the smartphone and be filming it with the smartphone, recording the audio on the smartphone, and also putting it through speakers in a house. So that's an important thing that I think should have been improved. So I don't think it has, I think it's the same. And then the other thing is, we have receivers that's specially made to go into smartphones. We have receivers that's specially made to fix onto the top of video cameras. But what we don't have is a receiver that's specially made to go inside a mixer board or onto a speaker. That would be a great option to make something specially like that. You've seen, I'm sure, the things that come like this, for example, and you just plug it in and receive it like that, the signal. But we don't have that option, so I have to use this kind of adapter and this kind of workaround to make this video camera receiver work with a public speaking in-house speakers system. So that would be a great improvement. And then while we're at it, we may as well have two of these outputs, because we do have two microphones, for example, two microphones that connect to this at the same time. Imagine if we could have one here in one channel and then another one to go into another channel. Wouldn't that be great if there's two outputs here? So that's another improvement I'd like to see. Hollyland, if you're watching this. I do want to experiment with getting one of these stereo to mono cables, putting the stereo in there and taking two cables, one to two different channels, to see if each one is sent on a different channel. Supposedly it is. I think it'll work, but I haven't tried it. So if you try it at home, let me know in the comments below. And basically that's it. Is it worth it? Yes, it is. If you've already got this, you don't need to buy this. But if you haven't bought any of them yet, then definitely it's worth a little bit more money. They probably cost this $20 or $30 more maybe to get this, because it's definitely an improvement. I love it. I mean, look at this, man. I can use it as a earring and have two here and have stereo. Just kidding. It's great. I love it. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share the video, and watch my music videos on this channel because they're good. And listen to my music as a saxophonist. And that's it. So all this stuff, we don't get so much stuff with the new one. It's better. It's simplified. It's more elegant and more simplified. Maybe the S means simplified. So, and the sound, as you've heard yourself, should be the same. I'm using the second microphone now, the new one, and before I was using the old one. So, have a nice day, and thank you.